Okay, cool. Okay, so come to sit. And I always recommend sitting on the edge of something, whether that's a blanket or 2 blankets. Hello, Suzanne, nice to see you. Hello, Heather's picture, nice to see you. I'm not sure if we've met before. Welcome. Allow your eyes to close. And start to connect with the breath. Be as attentive as possible to the next 5 breaths. You might count them with the fingers on one hand and explore for yourself how present, how attentive you can be for the entire duration of those 5 breaths. Noticing the path of the breath, where it has access, where it feels limited. Noticing the expression on your face, the thoughts you are thinking. And then after those 5 breaths, just be attentive to how you feel as a result, what you notice. Good morning, Bernie. Glad you made it. This week I've been contemplating this expression that we have. We say, let the dust settle, or after the dust has settled. And I love this possibility that after things land where they land, after the shakedown, then maybe there will be some clarity. You know, we all know this, if you've been in a plane, there might be cloud cover, there might be like tumultuous weather in this on Earth, but at some point you can get above the clouds and there is vast spaciousness. There is vast luminosity. And so there is always clarity above the weather. And likewise, at the very bottom of the ocean, no matter how tumultuous the surface, the bottom of the ocean, there's an ease, there's a calmness. And I love these as metaphors for the truth of who we really are. Or the ground in which everything is occurring is this vast spaciousness. It's the stage on which the play is unfolding. And the clarity that we're seeking, it's always there, but sometimes it's obscured. So as we're practicing yoga this morning, just notice when it feels like the dust is kicking up. And if it can settle, if you can kind of relate with what is occurring without your expectations of it, without the projections you put on top of it, without opinions about it. If you can just be with the reality, that might be similar to this vast spaciousness. If any of that sounds interesting, I might remember to talk about that. In any case, bring your hands into prayer, lift your heart, and bow your head. We'll launch into practice by joining our voices in the sound of Om together one time. The vast spaciousness of the sky, the calmness at the bottom of the ocean. Maybe this is likened to the silence that supports the sound of Om. We might say Om is ah, u, and silence, and we could imagine that the silence comes after the sounding of the Om. But the truth is the silence is pervasive. The silence is everywhere within the Om. Without the silence, you couldn't hear any of the distinct other syllables. And so maybe that clarity that we are seeking, that luminosity, that benevolence, that joy, it's contained within the chaos, within the whatever is occurring. And maybe that's what we get to practice on the yoga mat, practice relating with that state, finding it, having some faith in it. If you'd like to join me in the sound of Om, we'll chant just one time. Let's inhale. Go ahead and place your right hand on your heart. Just for a moment, place your left hand over your right hand. Lift your heart and gently bow your head. Not as a concept, not as an idea, but as a literal, visceral feeling. Feel the beating of your heart. Maybe even imagining that with your hands resting over your heart, you could infuse your hands with your heart's intention. We say things like to go to the heart of the matter, which means go to the very center. We speak from the heart, which means we're speaking our deepest truth. And we know something by heart. To know something by heart is to truly love it, infuse it with love. As we're practicing today, maybe that vast spaciousness is not separate from the heart space. Maybe this whole journey is about becoming more and more familiar, more and more acquainted with that place, that space, that truth. Keep your right hand on your heart, release your left hand down. Awareness dancing in the palm of the left hand. Go ahead and link the index finger nail into the first crease of the thumb, creating a Jnana Mudra. Symbolically folding the individual temporary self you are into the cosmic eternal reality that you are. Perhaps that is the ultimate realization of a human life and perhaps the goal of yoga. Go ahead and bring the right hand up toward your face. The first two fingertips can rest on your forehead. The thumb covers the right nostril, the ring finger covers the left nostril, and you use your fingers to alternately open and close one nostril at a time. Fan the collarbones, lift the ear tips, soften the shoulder tops, relax your jaw. Inhale, receive the breath through both nostrils. Exhale through both nostrils. Close the right nostril with the thumb. Inhale, left side, 3, 2, 1. Close left. Exhale, right side, 3, 2, 1. Inhale, right side, 3, 2, 1. Close right. Exhale, left side. That was one round of Nadi Shodhana. Inhale, left side, 3. Close left. Exhale, right side, 3. Inhale, right side, 3, 2, 1. Close right. Exhale, left side. That was 2 rounds. Continue a few more rounds on your own with a few points of awareness. Your breath might move longer. Don't strive for longer. There's no extra merit to it, but let the breath be smooth and steady and let the body determine how long the breath will move. Do make an effort to have inhale and exhale be the same duration. Even with the eyes closed, you could turn your internal gaze up toward the third eye, between and above your eyebrows, or down the tip of the nose. Focusing the gaze even while the eyes are closed is a way to help the mind from wandering, help to keep the mind from wandering. Just like those 5 breaths at the beginning of class, discover how attentive you can be to every single moment of each breath. Being attentive to what is occurring without any commentary, without any preference. remember this breath. This breath is available to you anytime. It's believed to balance the two hemispheres of the brain, balance the autonomic nervous system, maybe even your endocrine system, which regulates sleep cycles, immunity, metabolism, etc. The next time that you exhale through the left nostril, take your time, no hurry, no rush at all. Release your hand back down. Maybe both hands are in Dhyana Mudra or both hands empty. Let your choices be made by how it feels, not by what you think. So letting the dust settle. Go ahead and open your eyes and we'll come into heart bench. So heart bench does require 2 blocks. If anyone doesn't have 2 blocks, give me a wave on the screen. One of the blocks goes on the tallest height near the wall behind you, and the other block goes in front of it. You lie back on this block. Just in case anyone doesn't have blocks, if you have a blanket, you could make kind of a big rectangle with your blanket and roll it up like a noodle. And then lay back, the blanket supporting your spine, and you can tuck the opposite end of the blanket under your neck. So your head is lifted a little bit and your chin gets tucked a little bit. If you see me looking at my phone, I'm using it as a timepiece and sometimes going in search of inspiration of a poem. Inhale, receive the breath deeply. Exhale, sigh. So keep using that, the ability you have to direct attention, to direct awareness. Keep refining that skill by staying present and becoming increasingly familiar with the experience you are presently having. This is actually really valuable practice. This is a valuable tool for your own life. So that when you're off the mat and you're engaged in a conversation or stuck in traffic or riddled with anxiety of fears for some potential future, you can come back to your body, you can come back to the present, you can direct awareness to fully embody the present moment. So as attentive as possible to this breath, feel it rise, watch its path. Notice if there's a scent, if there's a tingle, where it has access, where it feels limited. Watch where that inhale turns into an exhale. And then watch its exit, rapid or lingering. And before the next breath rises, realize the truth that you'll never ever take that breath again. Last few breaths here. How attentive can you be? Inhale. And exhale. If it's kind to use your hands to help your knees lift, do that. If your feet feel delicious where they are, stay there. Press your elbows and your palms down. Tuck your chin into your throat. Make your way back up towards sitting. Bring the soles of your feet to the floor, widen your feet, just enough so that there's space for you to fold in. Hug onto yourself underneath your legs. I'm feeling a little just something right now. Right before class, someone sent me a disturbing clip of the president sort of mimicking, like, I can't breathe, mocking, I can't breathe. I don't think it was in response to George Floyd, but in response to some atrocity. And it just kind of leveled me a little bit. Go ahead and sit yourself up. Let's stretch both legs long and bend the left knee, either bring the left foot to the inside top of the right leg. We'll fold over the right leg. If you prefer, that's called butterfly or half butterfly pose. If you prefer, if your bones allow, you could bend the left knee so the knee is flexed, and then internally rotate and then abduct the thigh. So if that's preferable for you, we'll fold over the right leg. You might have your blocks as elbow supports. or forehead support. If you don't fold very far, if your lower back rounds or your hips tilt backward, you might keep your right knee bent so that when you fold forward, you get your pelvis to come forward. And maybe with time, you can stretch your leg long or lengthen your leg longer. I'm suddenly reminded of this poem by Hafiz. I think Hafiz lived in the 13th century. No, the 1300s, I think, the 14th century. He was a Sufi. So Sufism is the ecstatic branch of Islam. He was before Rumi, I believe. Anyway, he wrote, "Don't surrender your loneliness so quickly. Let it cut you more deep. Let it ferment and season you as few humans and even divine ingredients can. Something missing in my heart tonight has made my eyes so soft, my voice so tender, my need for God absolutely clear." Notice your jaw, your brow. Notice if you're projecting anything onto this present moment, if there's an expectation, if there's a hope, if there's a belief, a should or a shouldn't. I think these are the things that kick the dust up so much so that we miss a lot of what's actually occurring. Relax your shoulders, relax your jaw. You can stay folded over the leg, or you could turn your torso to the left a little bit. Maybe the left arm comes overhead to make it a bit more of a side stretch. That might help you feel it a little more in your lower back, the SI joint of the bent knee side of the body. Use blocks or bolsters or supports in any way so your head can feel heavy, maybe supported, so your muscles can relax. That's an important part of the method of yin yoga. Last couple of breaths here. Inhale and exhale. Walk your hands in, press down, lift up, pause. And then keeping your knee bent, swivel your foot to the floor and stretch that leg long. If it feels good to roll your ankle or rub your knee, do that. And then bend your right knee. Your right foot either finds the inside top of the left leg, or you bend the knee, internally rotate, and abduct the thigh to fold over the left leg. Don't flex or engage, lengthen or integrate. I bought this collection of poetry a few years ago. It's called How Lovely the Ruins, Inspirational Poems and Words for Difficult Times. Maggie Smith wrote in a piece called Good Bones, "Life is short, though I keep this from my children. Life is short, and I've shortened mine in 1,000 delicious, ill-advised ways. 1,000 deliciously ill-advised ways I'll keep from my children. The world is at least 50% terrible, and that's a conservative estimate, though I keep this from my children. For every bird, there is a stone thrown at a bird. For every loved child, a child broken, bagged, sunk in a lake. Life is short, and the world is at least half terrible. And for every kind stranger, there is one who would break you, though I keep this from my children. I'm trying to sell them the world. Any decent realtor walking you through a real shithole chirps on about the good bones. This place could be beautiful, right? You could make this place beautiful. Notice the expression on your face. If you want to make this a side stretch, revolve your torso to the right. Stretch your right arm overhead. Use props in any way that's helpful. It feels to me like the duality of the world is more stark these days. The high highs and the low lows at the same time. I mean, the astonishingly good weather we've been having. Oh, right, except for those tornado-like gales, gusts of winds last week. But when there are real problems, real challenges, the things we thought were problems are revealed in their true context or Inhale here. And exhale. Release your hands. Use your arms to lift your torso. Close your eyes, feel. Maybe it's like shaking up a snow globe. And then the dust settles and you feel what's been here the whole time. Keep the knee bent as you lift the knee up. I'd love to offer something for the inner thighs. So if a wide angle forward bend works for you, do that. If you like a wide angle child's pose, you could do that. Your big toes touch, your knees go wide, your arms extend in front of you. If you like going to a wall or the edge of a couch or whatever room you're in, you could have your feet on the wall or the couch or the bed, your feet about as wide as your knees. Any height, check in to feel what's meaningful in your body. Oh. Be attentive to your breath. You probably know this. In yin yoga, you're welcome to breathe with the ujjayi sound, the aspirated sound, and you don't have to. If it helps you stay present, then choose it. Training awareness to abide in the present moment, even if it seems boring or ordinary. I firmly believe that one day, everything we believed to be, we held to be ordinary, will be revealed as exquisitely extraordinary. All that we thought was mundane, we will recognize as the most miraculous gift we could ever have wished for. It's interesting, all of the ways we might be kicking up the dust. Our drama junkie tendencies, some displeasure or restlessness with what is. Sometimes maybe we only know ourselves, we only know who we are in the midst of turmoil. Tori Amos has a line in a song. She says, "I'm okay when everything's not okay." I bet a lot of us can relate with that. So maybe this possibility of becoming familiar with this space of clarity or this space of ease will help you relax into your life as it is and not need to stir the pot, kick up the dust. Inhale here. And exhale. So if you're folded forward, use your hands to help lift your torso up. If you're at the wall, you might use your hands to help you lift your legs. Come to some shape where you can just feel, pause, breathe, notice. And let's practice an external hip opener. And since I know you are all, well, I don't know this for sure of all of you, but I know most of you are sophisticated yogis who have been practicing for a long time. You know that there are, let's say, 3 external hip openers in the yin yoga, lineage, with some variations. So you get to choose which one you want. You might stack your right shin on top of your left shin and fold forward. You might thread your right thigh over your left thigh and fold forward. You might come into sleeping swan, which is like the pose commonly called pigeon, your right knee forward. Of course, you can do this at the wall, or not at the wall, but just right ankle on left knee and draw the knee in. So please let me know if I can be more specific or offer more possibilities. One of the most important things to consider when you get yourself into this shape is that you are intending to feel this in your outer hip. But not at all your knee. And wherever you are, just remember that as you sink into the shapes, especially if you've been practicing this for the tissue, how to say this? Once you carve out a pathway through yin yoga, I believe we need a little less time in the shapes to get the energy to flow. Just like if you were carving out a path in a jungle, in the beginning, the work is really hard, but then after it becomes maintenance. When you're newer to yin yoga, it might take longer to carve that path and affect the tissue and get everything juicy. But once the tissue is more resilient, you might need less time. So rather than coming out of the shape, you might just explore conscientious shifting of your body. Like you might walk your torso a little to the left. For example, or lengthen your arms away from you. I love this little Zen story. A lord came to a monk, a Zen teacher, and asked the teacher how might he pass the time? What would be the best way to pass the time? He felt his days very long, attending his office and sitting stiffly to receive the homage of others. The Zen teacher wrote 8 Chinese characters and gave them to the man. Not twice this day, inch, time, foot, gem. This day will not come again. Each minute is worth a priceless gem. The breath you're breathing right now, you'll never breathe again. The moment that is arising and dissolving simultaneously will never return. It's so poignant to me to remember over and over again that whether it's pleasurable or opposite, whether it's displeasurable, whether it's uncomfortable, whether it's painful, whether it's whatever is occurring right now, you'll never get a single moment of your life back. Maybe you honor the life that you have by being present to it and feeling it all, not resisting it. Let's inhale and exhale. Walk your hands in and sit up. If you're on the ground, release your feet, pause. Let yourself have the experience you're having, which is actually a ridiculous thing to say, because how could you not be having the experience you're having? But don't resist the experience you're having, whether you like it or not. Embrace it. If you're objecting to every word I'm saying, embrace that. Go ahead and, if you like, you can kind of windshield wiper your knees between sides. And then same shape, other side. Don't expect this side to be like the other side. Let this side be its own experience. Which again is a ridiculous thing to say, because how could it be other than its own experience? When I'm teaching Vinyasa yoga, I think I'm really cheerful, sometimes funny. When I teach yin yoga, sometimes I just feel like such a Debbie Downer. But those of you who have been practicing with me for a long time, we all need the time and the place to have a direct and visceral, unfiltered relationship with reality. I know I prefer the straight dose. I believe there's a relationship between how deeply you allow yourself to feel the truth of the difficult or heavier emotions, and your ability to experience profound joy. It seems to me the more you open to the depths, the reality, the more vivid everything becomes.
Notice your inner dialogue. I highly encourage sighing. It's been said that sighing is like an internal vibrational hug. Inhale and exhale. If you're folded forward, use your hands, use your arms to lift your torso up. Pause, feel. If you're on the floor, just release your legs. Again, if it would feel good to windshield wiper your knees, go ahead and do that. Let's have the feet wide, like as wide as the mat or even a little wider. And let both knees fall to the right. Bring your left arm up and around. I have to turn away from the camera, but I'll flip around so you can see it's pretty simple. Bring your left arm around. Turn toward the back of your space. And walk your hands away from you. Bend your elbows. Maybe make a pillow with your hands. So that you are taking a bit of a twist. Hopefully you feel this in your lower back, maybe your outer hip. Relax your shoulders, not for a full 5 minutes, just a few breaths here. Victoria, you might bring your elbows to the floor, so like this. Yeah. I wonder if that would be good for your sciatica. Yeah. As you're ready, walk your hands back in, come back to center, windshield wiper your knees a few times. And then when they fall to the left, keep them there, bring their right arm around. So you twist toward the back of your mat. Depending on how it feels, maybe your hands walk away, maybe your elbows bend, maybe you make a pillow with your hands for your forehead. Inhale and exhale. Start to lift yourself back up, come back to center. If a couple more swipes of the windshield wiper blades feels good, do that. And when you're ready, shift toward hands and knees, have your blocks. We'll practice praying mantis pose. So for this pose, you have 2 blocks. They're both, I'll say on the medium height, although you can decide. I don't know if anyone doesn't have blocks. You could use blankets. I'll demonstrate that in a moment. Get your elbows to the edge of the block that's closer to you. Your hands might stay forward. Your knees walk back so your armpits open toward the ground.
maybe you bring your prayer hands to the back of the heart to let your heart open more. If you want the blocks higher, you could do that. If you don't have blocks, but you do have a blanket or a couple of blankets, you could have your blankets in front of you or bolster in front of you and come to the same shape with just your forearms resting on the elevation. See if there's a little more sinking you can allow. Inhale here. And exhale, sigh. Walk your knees closer to the blocks. Elbows off the blocks. Come to a child's pose if that feels okay for you. If that doesn't feel so good, then some neutral shape where you can notice. And as you're ready, slide onto your belly and then flip over onto your back. Bend your knees, lift your hips, and slide a block under your sacrum. If you don't have a block, you could fold a blanket into a nice little brick and lift your hips and slide that under your sacrum. So the idea is to have your hips elevated, a bit of a back bend. You can keep your knees bent with your feet on the floor, or you can keep your feet on the floor and walk them away from you so your legs go longer. Breathe quite deeply, completing your exhalations. You can stay here or walk your feet in and press your sacrum down so your chest lifts and your legs lift up to the sky, coming into a passive inversion. If you lift your legs, you might circle your ankles and squeeze your toes. And go ahead and bend your knees, bring your feet to the ground. Walk your feet in. Press your feet down. Squeeze your gluteal muscles, the buttocks, the thighs. Lift your hips up and move the block out. And lower down. And pause for a moment. Feel the wince. Feel the throb. Draw your knees in towards your belly. Fold both knees over to the right. No, I'm sorry, I mean the left. Bring both knees over to the left side. Look to the right. Your right arm can come like a T or a goalpost. Inhale. And exhale, back through center. Now both knees over to the right side. Look to the sky or look to the left if that's okay on your neck. Inhale here. Exhale. Roll back onto your back. Hug your knees into your belly. Give them a squeeze. You can rock side to side or draw your forehead toward your knees, or if you love a happy baby pose, you could do that. Stretch both legs long as you're ready and head toward Shavasana. For this Shavasana, let your feet be about as wide as your mat. Maybe you slide a rolled up blanket or some pillows under your knees to allow your low back to lengthen, or the lip of a blanket or a pillow under your skull. Arms a good 8 to 10 or 12 inches to the side. You get to choose, palms up or palms down. If there is this practice of letting the dust settle, Shavasana might be the ultimate in that practice. Maybe you begin to connect with the clarity that is always present, perhaps obscured by the tumult of emotion, the clash of thoughts, the drama or trauma of your life. But maybe when you stop projecting onto the present experience, your hopes, your expectations, your fears, your opinions, the shoulds and the shouldn'ts, the beliefs, have a more direct, personal, vivid, raw, wild experience of reality, of the truth. Take great delight in the experience of this next breath, giving it your full attention and watching it fall. Grateful for the next breath. Start to wiggle your fingers and toes. Rock your head. Draw your knees to your belly. Roll through one side. Make your way back up towards sitting. Maybe on the edge of a blanket or a block. I almost had this poem memorized. I've shared it so many times. There's a bunch of you who might be able to recite it with me. You've heard it so many times and probably read it and shared it so many times. It's called The Cure by Albert Huffstickler. He wrote, "We think we get over things. We don't get over things." Or say, we get over the measles, but not a broken heart. We need to make that distinction. The things that become part of our experience never become less a part of our experience. How can I say it? The way to get over a life is to die. Short of that, you move with it. Let the pain be pain, not in the hope that it will vanish, but in the faith that it will fit in, find its place in the shape of things, and be then not any less pain, but true to form, because anything natural has an inherent shape and will flow towards it. And a life is as natural as a leaf. That's what we're looking for, not the end of a thing, but the shape of it. Wisdom is seeing the shape of your life without obliterating or getting over a single instant of it. Bring your hands into prayer, lift your heart, bow your head. The silence that supports the Om, the sky that supports the weather, the stage that supports the play unfolding. In the snow globe, maybe the liquid that holds the snowflakes, it's always there. We can train our awareness to seek it out, to have some faith in it. Let's conclude our shared practice, joining our voices if you care, if you'd like, in the sound of a single Om. Inhale. Drift your arms behind you. Your right hand holds your left wrist. Your left thumb and forefinger touch. Shine your heart to the sky. Exhale, lead with your heart. Fold forward, sealing in your practice. Thank you so much.